consciousness, you mentioned that, but like,
Yeah.
do you ever get like, feel like that's maybe not the case or not true?
Well, I mean, there's certainly at times when I have doubts about these things.
I mean, I think it's a good question you ask, because it goes to, like, at a foundational level, what is my philosophy, and why does it lead to this conclusion? So the reason is that when I was a teenager, I had like an existential crisis to try to figure out what's the meaning of life. There doesn't seem to be any meaning. For me, at least, the religious texts, and I read all of them that I get my hands on, did not seem convincing. So then I'm like, okay. Then I started reading the philosophers. Be careful of like reading German philosophers as a teenager. It's definitely not going to help with your depression. So reading Schopenhauer and Nietzsche, I'm like, ugh. Now, as an adult, it's much more manageable. But as a kid, you're like, whoa. So then I was like, man, I'm just like struggling to find meaning in life here. And then I read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and basically what Douglas Adams was saying is that we don't really know what the right questions are to ask. Like, the question is not what's the meaning of life. In the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Earth, it turns out, is a big computer and its goal is to answer the question, what's the meaning of life? And Earth comes up with the answer 42. This is where the 42 number comes from. And 420 is just 10 times 42. Yeah. So in that book, which is really sort of a book about, it's an existential philosophy book disguised as humor, they come to the conclusion that no, the real problem is trying to formulate the question. And to really have the right question, you need a much bigger computer than Earth. And so maybe one way of characterizing this would be to say the universe is the answer. What is the question? And the more, or what are the questions? The more we can expand the scope and scale of consciousness, the better we can understand what questions to ask about the answer that is the universe. And the more we can expand consciousness, become a multi-planet species, ultimately a multicellular species, we have a chance of figuring out what the hell's going on. And so, this is why I think we should have more humans and more digital, both biological and digital consciousness, and why we should become a multi-planet species and a multicellular species, is so that we can understand the nature of the universe. And then, in order for that to occur, then we have to make sure that things are good on Earth. We don't want Earth to disappear. So sustainable energy is important.